Welcome viewers. I'm going to show you how I crafted this little lantern from materials from the Dollar Tree and using my Cricut maker machine. And I used a little Bible quote here. You are a light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Here we go. I just found the cutest little light lanterns here, and you can turn them on with just the switch that's on the top here. So I'm going to craft these babies out. Isn't that just too adorable? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some words all the way around, going around. I set it up in my Cricut maker. Let's see if it'll let me go back. Okay, there we go. So there are words. They're all set up and ready to go. I have them spaced out the way I want them, and as you can see I have two sets. I'm going to do two. I'm going to work on the silver first. Also, going back to these little round circles here, what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to take these tops and I'm going to cover them because they're going to sit just like that, and then we don't want to see that. So I'm going to cover this with a patch of silver and then just cut out the switch. Just do a cutout for the switch. You will be able to lift it up if you need to change the batteries out, which won't be very often. So that won't be a problem, just to be able to lift that up every once in a while. Now, here are my options. I have the shiny silver vinyl, but we don't want to go with that. Turns out that this frosted silver is a perfect match for that top. Look at that. Woohoo, baby. So that circle is going to cover that. Same with the gold. I don't have any gold, but I'm going to get the same thing because that gold is frosted. So I'm going to go with the frosted gold in black for this one. Turn that off. I don't want to burn my light down. And then I was thinking either go with this gold, this black, I think this is the holographic vinyl, which really you're getting a lot of those colors coming out, but when your letters are narrow, you don't get as much of that. You just get that iridescent effect. So yeah, I'm wondering if that would look okay against that, or just go with plain black matte. I'm liking the black matte a whole lot better. So we're gonna get started with this, and then I'll be back. I have my Cricut maker set up and ready to go. I'm going to be cutting this silver glitter vinyl. Now, I don't bother to cut my vinyl until it's done. I just keep it rolled up here. And then when it's done, I just cut off the portion that I'm using and I'll roll this right back up. That saves some time. So let's go. Again. There we go. Now we're ready. And then we press go. That's the start button. And it's going to let you know how far it is into the job. It's cutting. 3% in. Alright, now it's finished cutting my silver glitter. And now my machine is prompting me for the next mat, which is the black, and you can see it's highlighted there. So, and it has the black color there that we're going with the next letters, because I'm doing an effect with 2 colors for my letters. And here we're gonna look at this. So I have just enough space left on this strip of black mat, hanging off a little. So looking here, I can go down as far as 4 inches down here, and all the way across I need at least 10 inches. 10 inches across. So I had this extra strip here. We have 4 inches here, and I'm going to go across and I'm going to cut it here at 10 inches. I'm going to cut this off, and then I'm going to keep this scrap, because again, I'll be able to use this for another project later. So I'm going to set this up and let her go. I want to show you what I use for my vinyls. This is just a plastic basket that I had left over from Dollar Tree. And then my scraps, so I cut that piece of scrap off, and then I just have a little envelope that I use here for all of my straps. Again, Dollar Tree. And keep all of my little scraps down in there. Even this is my transfer paper, so stick that down in there with that. And then this is all you need. This is all my vinyls. They fit in here perfectly. And the ones that come 3 to a package, I just roll them up and put all 3 colors down in there, saving some space. Perfect. Doesn't cost a lot. Doesn't use up a lot of space. Now for cutting my black letters, it's ready to go. Load it in. And press go. I love this Cricut machine. I actually got mine. I ordered it from either, I never can remember, HSN or QVC. And when I got it around the holidays, so I got a pretty good price on it. I love that you can see the word "the" there. So I love that with HSN and QVC, they allow you to, first of all, they always give you bundles, and then they allow you to pay overtime. So you just pay with their flex pay or whatever, whichever one calls it whatever, and then you pay per month. So I think I paid this off in 4 months, and I got a couple of the cutting tools here. Actually, I got all of these. I only bought the wood cutting tool to cut the balsa wood. That's the only one that I bought. So I got the cutting tools and everything with this package. So it was awesome. I got some vinyls to play around with it and to get used to the cutting. So if you're going to invest in a Cricut machine, and I like this one, I got the Cricut Maker, depending on how much crafting you're going to be doing. So this is the heavy duty one. So this does, you can cut for t-shirts, you can cut your vinyls, fabrics, wood, and as you can see, I changed out my mat. So this mat is just my light grip mat, and that purple mat that I used, that was the strong grip, because that glitter vinyl is pretty heavy and sometimes it'll curl up on you, and lots of people use tape to tape it down on the sides, and I don't like to do that because it's just a hassle. So I just switch out my mat. If I think the vinyl is heavy and it might try to curl up on the mat, I'll just put it on my strong grip mat, and that takes care of it. I'm weeding my letters. So most of the time I just weed while it's still on the mat. So I just pull this off. This is a lot of waste. I usually don't have this much waste, but because I'm so frugal, sometimes I don't mind. I'm just gonna discard all of those empty spaces there. Now, sometimes I would have moved these closer together, but because I want this spacing when I wrap these letters around the around my little lanterns that I'm making, I want this spacing. So I'm going to use my transfer tape right along here, and I'm going to wrap it around the lantern just as it's spaced, because I'm going to put those words in silver in these spaces, and I want to make sure I have that correct spacing. So here are my silvers all weeded out. So I want you to fit right there, and as you see, it's going to fit nicely. So you are the, now I need light. Light fits right in there, and then world here at the end. So I want this spacing. So sometimes it's kind of difficult to avoid those little wasted spaces if you want less work in the end. This silver was a bit of a weeding nightmare. I would tell you, the glitters are really hard to weed. Now, the reason is that the lettering that I use, if you look closely and you see these tiny little pieces right here that need to be weeded, that is really difficult with glitter, with your glitter. Really difficult. And you can see up in here in the T, and some of them I just left them there, but for the most part this font that I used was difficult. But then I have my weeding too. It takes some time and patience. Now after I pull the big piece off, now I need to go in and weed these spaces out here. My E's, my A's, the O's pulled out, which is a bonus. That's good. So, but for the other letters, I need to go in and use my tool and weed these out. Now I cut this out in 2 sets. So I want it just like that. That's how I want it placed on my little lantern. And it'll look like this. Again, with the silver spaced in between. So I want to keep that spacing. And it's going to go right on here just like this. So I'm going to set this on my transfer strip and then place it on my little lantern. Whoa, I almost dropped it. So this is two pieces, by the way. This was separate. I bought this, and then I saw that and I said, whoa, I see a project. Okay, so that was 2 pieces. So now let's go with setting this on my transfer tape. Sometimes I will leave this on my mat because it's easier to work when this is steady. So I just placed it here on my work surface, and then I'm going to smooth everything out, and then when I lift it up, all of my letters will be transferred onto my transfer film, and then I will take it and wrap it around here. So I'm only working with one hand today holding my camera, so I'll be back. My jar is prepped and ready. I'm sorry, my lantern. I went and cleaned it with some Windex because I did a lot of handling, so I'm going to try not to touch it anymore. And then my transfer material is ready to go. You see everything is reversed because we're gonna put it on like so. Okay. Success with my placement. And you can see the lines on here. Use the lines. Make sure when you're using your transfer tape, set it up on the lines, because I cut it right at the bottom of the line there. So I just set my line right at that bottom rim of the glass. I held it tight. I started at the center. So the center was about right here, which was good. There was nothing there. So I could keep lifting it and placing it back down until I had it right where I wanted it. So I stretched it out with both hands, placed the center on, and then I wrapped in one direction. Wrapped that all the way around, and then I came back and wrapped in the other direction. So there we are with the placement. Everything looks good. It's good to work on a surface of contrasting light so that I can see everything. Everything looks good behind this white cloth. Now I'm going to take this cloth and rub everything down nice and smooth and nice and tight. The good thing with working with a glass is when you look on the inside, you can see the spaces where you haven't quite rubbed it down nice and tight. So I'm going to go get everything nice and sealed with my cloth and remove this transfer tape. Transfer tape removed, everything's set in place nicely. I need to stop touching that because I still need this jar clean to put the silver on. Looking good. Now with my silver, I have to go word by word. I'm going to need to go word by word with the silver because I can't wrap. Even if I have the spacing, you don't want to wrap on top of letters that you've already placed because you run the risk of peeling them up. So I'm just going to do one at a time with placing my silver words. A note here, I had to back up a little because I was using my regular transfer tape trying to get this glitter to stick to the transfer tape, but it was a no-go. So I had to switch to my strong grip transfer tape. That glitter is really hard to adhere to the regular transfer tape, so I had to go ahead and just cut off a piece because when I'm placing it down, I don't want it to get in the way with my other letters. And I can sort of hold the pieces up that don't have any letters. I could just hold them up and then place my glitter letters. So, alright, I'm back to it again because as you can see, I was trying to peel this baby up and it was not sticking to that other transfer tape. That was pretty easy. It released right away. The strong grip works. Now see, I placed this to the far right side because if I would have placed it over here, this extra adhesive would be sitting on top of my letters that I already placed. I don't want that. So I'm going to put that right here. It's coming along. Rub this down with my cloth and then remove my transfer tape. Now working on cutting that little piece to cover this. I already set my cover. It's already set and out of the way. I got it here on my transfer tape. Now I need to know where to cut this little cutout. So here is where I removed that cover. So I'm going to make a stencil. So I'm just cutting this out. Then I'm going to place this on top and mark my cutout. And once I have it marked, then I could transfer it to here. I'll know where to mark it. I used my lines and marked my cutout. Now I'm going to cut that out and then place this backing right back on here and then cut that out. The same backing that it was fastened to. Placed it right back on top, and then I'm going to cut this out. I used my tiny shears. Cut out success. Place it right on top here. Transfer success. You barely even noticed the seam. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fasten this on here. I probably will put, I think if I put a rim of hot glue, it will hold it in place and keep it from wobbling. Not to fasten it, it'll just make sure it sets there nice and secure. So I'm going to play around with that, and then we're going to come back. Don't forget to remove your label from the bottom. You don't need it, and it's unsightly. You don't want to see that. So get your lantern top centered nice and balanced on your lantern. I just turned it upside down. Make sure it's not sitting on the cloth or anything. Just sit it on a flat surface. And then use my level until it doesn't have to be exact. Just turning it all the way around. It's staying pretty much in the middle. Good enough. Now I'm going to mark this, mark some spots, and then just put some hot glue gun down on there just to hold it centered when it's standing upright. Change of plans. My pearl dots save the day again. I'm going to use these. I'm just going to place one dot. See my markings here? One dot in each place on my lantern. And once I place the lid on top, then it won't move around. I'm going to reinforce it just with a dot with my super glue. That's much better. Ah, that looks good. And it fits perfectly. Now let's turn it over. And it's a snug fit. I didn't glue it on there. It's a snug fit so that it doesn't wobble. So it sits, fastens on there nicely. Nice snug fit. Got a cute little night light. Thanks for watching.